When we talk about enterprise reinvention, what do we mean in today's context?
Every single client of ours is looking for two things, either a top line growth or a cost takeout. I always wanted to be in the FMCG sector when I started my career. Nobody hired me. Imagine in the COVID times when we were all locked up in our homes across the world, what were we doing? We were watching content sitting in our home because we could not step out. Who was enabling that? It was telecom sector.
The students and young professionals underestimate about the business world, about the real business world.
That's a tough one to answer. They need to be a little patient about their progress. Animals are my passions because they can't speak like you and me. I believe, and that's something which my father gave me, when you leave a better planet, a better society than the one you came into. So I'm trying to do that. Let's see.
That's beautiful. So hello and welcome to another episode of Corporate Citizen Conversations. I'm Aryan Agarwal and I'm today's host. We have with us today a very special guest, Mr. Anil Jain. He's currently working as the Managing Director at Accenture Strategy and Consulting Global Networks. He brings over more than 30 years of experience when it comes to business strategy. Apart from all this, he's also passionate about mentoring young students, young professionals, and as well as he has some enthusiasm for animals as well as art. So let's dive into his journey and gain some new insights, some better insights, and let's begin. First of all, I'd like to thank you so for taking time out of your busy schedule and being with us here in this podcast.
It's my privilege. Thank you.
Definitely. So firstly, would you just like to give a brief, background about your educational journey to our audience and your career journey?
Absolutely. So being born and brought up in Delhi, I did my entire schooling and my undergraduation, post-graduation, everything in Delhi. So I am not a STEM student and with a commerce background and then my master's in business economics. But the irony is that I'm in a tech-led sector for the last 20 years or so. But yeah, so that's a little bit of my education journey.
And what about your career journey?
I started off way back in 92 and with a frontline sales experience. And with that, I think I worked in different industries on purpose. The reason being, I realized that if you get stuck to one industry, your mobility and your career progression gets plateaued at some stage when you hit in your mid-30s or something. Very early observations. So I was willing to back myself by changing industries, and then most of the times it was a green field that I joined. So I worked in building products, brown goods, white goods for almost a decade, and then telecom sector and also retail, and then finally into strategy and consulting.
Okay. So now that you have mentioned that you have been into strategy and consulting, so when we talk about enterprise reinvention, what do we mean in today's context?
Brilliant question. Actually, in the times that we are living in, every single client of ours is looking for two things, either a top line growth or a cost takeout. So eventually everything boils down to a fatter P&L, right? It can be both also, it's not either or. But to do that, in mature businesses, most of our clients are in mature markets, mature businesses, and mature competition as well. So what do? If they do incremental changes to their processes, their operating model, and everything around that, the returns will always be suboptimal. So when we say reinvention, we say, okay, trash this, let's say it's a customer journey. Trash this. Don't look at that and try to improve this. If you were the customer of your own product or services, what would you want? Don't be shackled by what is currently there. So when you reinvent, you think out of the box completely. It sounds cliched, but reinvention means you're not tied to a legacy system, workflow, process, or anything, or people. Fix that and then everything will flow. So our transformations are around reinvention of business processes or business divisions or the entire organization. And therefore, change management, because unless you have your employees and your first level vendors and partners with you, you will never be successful in a transformation. So that is what reinvention means to me.
Okay. And you have been working across diverse regions, especially Europe and APAC regions, right? So, according to your observation, how does transformation strategies differ from region to region?
Great question.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at my US clients and Japan particularly, they are the most advanced economies with the entire ecosystem. Like I said, their competition, their own businesses, their own customers are the most evolved, and therefore their expectations are very different. When we go to Europe, it's a mixed bag, because while Europe as a continent is also ahead economically, but not each country is in the same, I would say, in the same swim lane.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, their journeys are a little different. At times, almost as mature as these two, but sometimes a little behind. When we go to the Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, and all, it's more heterogeneous than you can imagine. But the beautiful part is that the erstwhile monarchies, they have taken this step forward, I think, in the last 2 to 3 years after the COVID scare came down. They really want to invest in their ICT infrastructure, which impacts every industry and becomes an enabler for the other industries.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where their vision is. So the vision for them is a lot different than the first example I gave of the US, Japan kind of advanced economies. So that's the difference.
Okay. And you have been significantly, involved in the telecom sector, right? You have worked with giants like Jio, Bharti Airtel, as well as Aircel. So, what initially drew you to this telecom sector?
I always wanted to be in the FMCG sector when I started my career.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody hired me. And the reason was that I started off with building products and brown goods and white goods. So their business model, their channels, and everything is very different. And FMCG was the North Star. Till in the 90s, the telecom industry came, and here you have the last mile visibility up to the point of consumption of their services. So it went much ahead of the FMCG business model and everything around that. I was lucky, I got a break, which I really wanted, because suddenly my North Star changed from FMCG to telecom. And why I love staying in that sector, to your question, is it's a data-driven, insight-driven business, because everything is captured as a data point. Even the moment you make a phone call, that second is captured in a system somewhere. So we know exactly when you have consumed a data packet or a voice. So we know. So we can use advanced analytic techniques and leverage them to grow the business, give you more customized offers and all. So all businesses talk about customization, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this was already happening in telecom sector. Maybe now we have tools which are much more efficient, like Gen AI, but that's all. So that's why I fell in love with this sector.
So this digital revolution we are into, it's reshaping the way how businesses are operating. So what role does telecom sector is playing into it?
Telecom sector, imagine in the COVID times when we were all locked up in our homes across the world, what were we doing?
Mobile.
We were watching content, sitting in our home because we could not step out. There was no other form of entertainment. Right? Making a coffee or two is all we could do. But other than that, we were only watching content.
Mm-hmm.
Who was enabling that? It was telecom sector. Working from home or remote working, virtual working, whatever you call it, was enabled and powered by this sector. So imagine if this sector had not invested billions of dollars in the networks, backhaul, and capacity for 4G or 5G network, depending upon which country you're talking about, none of this was possible. For a good year and a half or so, people were locked up. So this is how critical this sector is. It is the backbone for banking, for life sciences, every sector that you talk of. Retail can't survive without a strong backbone of data pipes and everything and the cloud. So this is all telecom sector's contribution.
So you have also worked at Jio, right? So would you like to talk about your role which you have played in making it among the top telecom, companies in India?
I was lucky that I was the chosen one,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a business which was conceived with a disruption in mind, and not just a great business. And the vision was much, much more beyond what we just did in the first couple of years when I was there. I had to move back because of family constraints and situations at home. It was disruptive. That is why the end outcome which you all saw and experienced was a world-class network, which was LTE, not 4G. 4G and LTE is like 4G and 4.5G. So that was the network we gave. And voice calls free. We democratized data consumption, which was sold at an awful price. People were paying through their nose for 1 GB of data in a month. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
But here we democratize it to the extent that 1.5 GB was the base plan we sold per day. And that was the network we created. That was the channel we created to deliver our services and our sends and everything to our end customers. So it was all on a digital way of life. Everything had to be digital. That was the mandate we got, and we executed that to a perfection. We executed that so well that we had a Guinness Book of World Records. 100 million customer, 200 million customer, 300 million customer, the fastest acquisition in any industry.
It's huge. It's huge.
Even WhatsApp and then Facebook, now Meta, did not acquire them at this pace. So that was what disruption did in this greenfield venture.
That must be a great achievement.
Absolutely. I still get goosebumps when I talk about it, like right now.
So in your opinion, like which industries are most ripe, to go through a strategic reinvention?
Every industry. You name it. The most unglamorous industry that people usually think of, unless they are associated with it, mining, right? We have done amazing transformations, giving mining clients a digital core to super optimize their processes, their top line and cost takeout, both the things. Like I said, every industry has this common problem. How can I increase my top line? How can I take out more costs from my current value chain? So we did that for even this kind of a industry and multiple clients. So I think this is an anecdote for any other industry which you talk of. Life sciences, the drug discovery, that process is completely overhauled with the introduction of large language models and data and AI-led, not Gen AI, but data and AI-led interventions with a digital core. So everything is there. Clinical trials, they are decentralized and yet digitally run to super accelerate the process which every regulatory authority wants or for every country. We have done that. So these are anecdotes for you.
And we have entered the fourth industrial revolution, right? So what excites you about it?
My fourth industry, I love it. Telecom is the greatest enabler. And of course, a little further, it's the data centers in the cloud. So the fourth industrial revolution, what is it? Imagine a manufacturing setup. There you put hundreds and thousands of those IoT devices, narrowband and all those IoT devices to super optimize your production and manufacturing workflow, minimize waste, improve your production run rate and throughput, as they call it. These sensors are picking that data every second in a manufacturing location. Where is the data going? It's going in the cloud. And you run analytics on that to deliver insights for the management to take actions, interventions, and activities based on these insights. So how wonderful is this?
It is, sure is.
You can leverage the same telecom network or maybe a captive network to run your robots and drive that optimal efficiency and minimize worker health and other issues. That can be done.
So coming to the last few questions, sir. You also work as a freelance storyteller at Dear World. So what is it about? Would you like to tell us about it?
Sure, it's It's an intervention which we started in Accenture only. I got certified for that. We are currently running it in batches of new joiners who are coming in. Now, imagine we are hiring people from all walks of life into different teams, and they're coming with different experience, different exposures, and different mindsets and different backgrounds. So, while they may be sitting in one room as 20 people, they're not the same. They may have joined at the same level in our management hierarchy or grade. Now, how do you make them get started? The legacy ways are give them a bunch of links, portals, in-house, all the stuff. Go through this, do that, enroll in this, do that, finish that, compliance, etc., etc. Yes, all of that will happen. Where is the human-to-human connect? They are not robots. They are people like you and me. So where is that human-to-human connect? That comes through this very powerful thought-invoking methodology, which is patented, and we have therefore trained some of us, like me, to run these sessions for new joiners. So they break the ice on day one, not 3 weeks or 3 months from now, with a select set of people in their teams. It is across teams. And they break the ice and they discover the human in an Aryan or in Anand. That's what it does.
So what makes you so passionate about, mentoring this young talent?
It comes from the fact that I was lucky to have fantastic leaders in my earlier part of my career journey, when that generation of leaders was very different from our management style and communication style. So I realized that I must be the most accessible leader for my teams when I become a leader. I must also understand them as humans and not just as one more head count. So those are the motivations. And I know my success is only because of my team's success. It's rolled up into me. Of course, I face the flack also sometimes, but more often than not, it is success. So if they are happy, if they respect each other, they believe in shared success, then my investments are all worth the time I've invested.
And since you are a storyteller, what do you think is the importance of storytelling in business leadership?
Great question. I think if you are an instructor and people are listening to you because they are a captive audience or something, they will listen and they will retain a part of it, right? But if you are a powerful storyteller using analogies, anecdotes, I think the retention is much deeper, much longer. And that is what you want exactly to happen. You still spend the same amount of time, but that is what you want to achieve as an outcome. So I believe storytelling can really invoke that part of the brain which is maybe sleeping or not active, and it invokes that, and the retention absorption becomes exponentially higher.
So coming to the next question, what do you think the students and young professionals underestimate about the business world, about the real business world?
That's a tough one to answer, but I will still do that. They need to be a little patient about their progress. Too often, they mix up the value they are bringing to a business, a customer, or a client with their personal aspiration for growth. There is nothing wrong in having a personal aspiration for growth, but decouple it. So you are focused on solving for, in our line of business, client problems, otherwise your customer problems. If you do that very well, you will learn much more because a part of your brain is not blocked by your growth aspirations and that mad rush or the rat race. So that's what I would say.
Okay. And you are also an animal advocate and art enthusiast, right? So how do these passions help you in your work?
Art was a God gift. I never got trained for it formally. And I'm very grateful that my mom spotted that very early in my childhood. I was in pre-primary maybe or something. And I then encouraged that. So I believe it helps you be more eloquent. And that's really important, because how do you have a human-to-human connect? If you don't give dignity to people, you are not eloquent. If any of these things are missing, I think it's half. That's one part. Animals are my passions because they can't speak like you and me. They can't express the good part or the not so good part of their emotion. If they are in pain, they can't tell you. They can just come and whimper at you. Look at you in their eyes with pain. You have to spot that. And I know there are people who are scared of touching or petting an animal. It could be a dog, it could be a horse, it could be a donkey, but they are seeking love and support. If we really want to give back something to the society we were born in, it's not only people, it's everything around us. At the end of the day, I believe, and that's something which my father gave me, when you leave a better planet, a better society than the one you came into. So I'm trying to do that. Let's see.
That's beautiful. And coming to the last question, what's that one piece of advice you would like to give to someone, who's just starting out the business?
Retain that childlike curiosity always, not in just the first few years or the formative years. If you keep that childlike curiosity alive in you till as late as, when you are ready to hang up your boots, you will do always well.
So that's it for today. It was such a great conversation with Mr. Anil Jain, sir. So it was a pleasure having you here. Thank you for all the insights. And if you all like the video, make sure to like it, comment it, and subscribe to our channel, as we are keen in bringing such interactive videos right to your screen. So see you in the next episode. Till then, stay tuned.